Angelina came out and filed for divorce on September 19th, 2016. And in it, she released a statement after filing for divorce that said that she's doing it for the health of her family. And there was nothing else. And all of a sudden, there was just this whirlwind of rumors of what was going on and why the divorce was coming. So Brad had to release a statement, and he ended up doing it that day. And this is what it said. I'm very saddened by this, but what matters most now is the well-being of our kids. I kindly ask the press to give them the space they deserve during this challenging time. So then a little bit of the details started coming out about this and about why. And there was all these rumors that Jennifer Aniston was back in the picture. She was married to Justin Theroux still at the time, and she debunked that. There was another person that was saying that, the rumors were that Brad Pitt had an affair with her and he got her pregnant. She debunked that and came out and said, no, I'm pregnant with my husband over here. So there was all these rumors to what was happening. So then Angelina, she released a second statement, and this is what it said. Angelina will always do what's in the best interest of taking care of her family. She appreciates everyone's understanding of their need for privacy at this time. And everybody wondered, dun dun dun, what was going on? So Angelina Jolie files for divorce, and we're all wondering why. What happened? Well, we come out to find that Brad Pitt is being investigated for child abuse. And what allegedly happened was they were on a plane flying across seas, and his older child, 16 years old, they got in a fight, and Brad grabbed his wrist or something and, told him to knock it off or something like that. And Angelina was like, that was too aggressive. That's child abuse. And when they landed, she called and said, this is child abuse. Well, it got kind of interesting because she calls DCFS in California and says, you need to investigate this. And DCFS says, Department of Child Services, or CPS, Child Protective Services, said, we don't have jurisdiction. This alleged incident happened on a plane. So the FBI had to take over. The FBI was investigating this alleged child abuse that Brad did. In the meantime, Angelina was able to file a temporary protective order very similar to what Amber Heard did against Johnny Depp, and it got granted, which meant that Brad Pitt could not see his children unless it was through a court-approved therapist, and they had to go to therapy together. And Brad Pitt has declared innocent the entire time, and throughout this story, we're going to show you that it actually was proven that he was innocent and he was telling the truth. The parties then decided that they were going to continue on a temporary arrangement of custody while they're trying to figure these things out. And Brad's attorney and him agreed that, hey, I will continue to do visits with my kids to make sure that our relationship goes stronger. So that continues throughout for several weeks for him to be able to see his kids and work through that. The next issue that happens in this case is Brad's attorney files in the court to seal the record, especially related to his children. He didn't want any of this information to get out, and he claimed that Angelina was using the children as basically pawns to, I guess, degrade him, defame him, and using it in the public. Now, Angelina fought back and said, the only reason why you want this sealed is because you don't want the public to see the truth. The problem with that argument is there's always a he said, she said, especially in divorce, and there had already been professional agencies who had, I guess, absolved Brad Pitt of abuse. So for her to be able to continually use that claim going forward, I think is not fathomable. And at the end of the day, these kids should be protected. This is a very, very high conflict divorce, but just because they're in the public eye doesn't mean their kids should be thwarted into the public. The court ended up sealing the records, and they said that it was by agreement. I think Angelina basically did it because her attorney said, you're going to lose this in court, and it's actually going to hurt you in your credibility, because why wouldn't you want to protect the privacy of your children, even if it means that you are wanting the truth to get out about Brad Pitt. Now, over a year goes by with these parties' divorce, and we don't hear much about what's going on with their case. Well, we then found out that they actually tried to put the divorce on hold because they were maybe trying to work things out. They were trying to communicate with each other, and they were trying to work it out on their own. However, it didn't last very long, and all of a sudden, a new temporary arrangement for custody is put back in into court to deal with what they're going to do during the pendency of their divorce. Then Angelina and Brad are like, just kidding, we don't want to put our divorce on hold. And they ended up going to court for a temporary arrangement with their kids. And I think what the judge said was really, really important. So let me read it to you. The Superior Court of Los Angeles County determined that not having a relationship with their father would be harmful to the 6 children. The court said that the kids are safe with their father and that it is critical that each of them have a healthy and strong relationship with both of their parents. He then essentially said that Maddox, being the age he was 17 at the time, could go with whatever parent that he chose based on his age. He could make that decision. This is where this case turns a nasty turn. We've now been going over 2 years, and again, it seemed like these parties were trying to work together, but Angelina then filed with the court some nasty pleadings claiming that Brad Pitt had not been paying her child support for the year or 2 years that this divorce had been going. It ended up not actually being true because Brad Pitt was paying for everything. Angelina wasn't paying, actually contributing to any of the marital assets, and Brad continued to make those payments. Brad fired back and said, I have paid over $9 million to Angelina. And for some reason, they claim that, well, a loan is not child support. I don't know why they were claiming that the money that Brad Pitt was voluntarily giving to Angelina was somehow a loan. And Brad Pitt was stating that it wasn't, that he was using it to support his family. So then they had to go to trial because they could not get an agreement. Brad wanted joint physical custody with his kids, and Angelina was absolutely against that. They went to trial in 2018 in December of that year. Since this case was going so long, in April of 2019, the court actually bifurcated their divorce. What that means is they actually legally divorced Brad and Angelina, but they reserved all of the custody and all of the marital assets to another day in court. That doesn't happen very often, but I think because of the longevity of this and because it was clear they were going to court because Brad was not going to settle for anything less than joint custody, the court was like, let's let these parties at least move on, and then we'll deal with the other stuff another day. The biggest turn in this case of Brad and Angelina happened in July of 2021. After a big, long battle, a judge finally came down with a ruling, and this is what it said. A judge issued a temporary ruling that would allow the formal couple to share custody of their kids. A source told us that Jolie was bitterly disappointed by the decision. Angelina's testimony lacked credibility, the source added. The decision was based on extensive testimonies from people who spent time with the kids and by highly respected professionals. Pitt, for his part, was delighted by the judge's ruling, but the insider said Jolie was already planning her next move. She will never forgive him, the source explained, adding that the actress will use everything she's got to appeal the arrangement. She maintains it's far from over and still believes that justice will prevail. So it didn't end there. So the judge makes a ruling, but now we have Angelina saying, I'm going to appeal this decision. They went one step farther and they tried to disqualify the judge. They said that the judge was somehow biased because the judge had some part in something with Brad Pitt in the past. And they did it after the judge had gone all the way through trial. Well, unfortunately, that judge decided to recuse herself, and therefore we've kind of started over. So this is still not finalized. The good news for Brad Pitt is, in the meantime, an order is an order. He has joint custody of his kids, and he's able to maintain that relationship with his kids even while Angelina continually brings him back to court. So even though we haven't heard much from this is far from over. And Angelina continually wants to make Brad Pitt seem like he is a bad dad. But all the experts, all the opinions, all the people that really matter are saying that's not true. And that's why this case is important, because it is very important for two parents to have a very good relationship, healthy relationship with their kids. And sometimes we just get the bitter fighting that gets in the way of allowing us to do that. So the lesson learned here, let's not be Angelina and Brad Pitt.